Disruptors, I want to welcome you to your first franchise. And I want to introduce you to our guest today. His name is Rich Moyer. He is the founder of Hoppin. He's a serial entrepreneur. He made a great exit with One Alliance. He's got another company called Friendly Neighborhood Beer Guys, which probably kind of teed up, I imagine, what you're doing today, Rich. Two Scoops Creamy, and of course, we're going to be talking about Hoppin today. So welcome to the show, Rich. I'm glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, you're based in Charlotte. I've been to your location. We're going to jump into the Hoppin brand in just a second, which is it's a lot of fun. We'll tee it up with that. What is the biggest? I want to start with a harder question right out the gate. What is the most significant challenge or mistake that you've made along your entrepreneurial journey, and now you're franchising? And how do you overcome that? What was the big turning point?
I would say I've never had any mistakes. I've had a lot of learning lessons, right? It was never a failure.
Love that.
If you're failing, you're actually more successful than your success. I've always said failing is a trampoline to your success. If you're successful all the time, you're not learning, you're not growing, and you got to fail to actually take that big leap. And I'd say the biggest mistake I learned with my first company was just growing a little bit too fast. And I've been fortunate enough to go through that in the beginning, because franchising, if you grow too fast, it can shoot you in the foot really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to support your team and your franchisees. So just growing too fast and trying to, keep up with the growth at that fast of a pace. I learned that I was very stressed. I was making more money than I ever thought I could make, but it really didn't mean anything because I was working 18, 19-hour days because of how fast I was growing.
Wow. And who or what are you grateful along this journey that helped you get you where you are today?
Yeah, I've had some great mentors. I'd say the person I'm most grateful for, I lost at the young age of 2.5. My baby brother passed away from brain cancer. The perspective he's given me on life, to watch a 2.5-year-old fight the worst disease in the world, with a smile on his face every single day, not knowing if he was going to be here tomorrow, really changed the perspective of my life and what he's taught me more in 2.5 years than anybody has had in 36 years. So the ability to just look at life a little bit differently and wake up in my own bed and be able to do what I want to do and help the people around me and make people more successful around me, that's changed my entire perspective on life.
Man, I love that. I'm sorry of your loss, but you've taken that and that's molded you your entire life.
For sure. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What was the problem in the marketplace? Like I said, I've been to your location. I know the answer. What was the problem you saw in the marketplace? I mean, you've run several businesses, and been successful at a number of businesses here. What was the problem in the marketplace that you saw and said, okay, there's an opportunity?
I'd say the biggest thing for me, I grew up never really drinking, never really going out. And then when I moved to Myrtle Beach in college, all my friends were bartenders. They were a little bit older than me. And they all just gave drinks away for free for a tip. So the biggest thing I saw was that, you almost have to watch every single step that your team or your bartenders are doing. So the self-serve technology eliminated 95 of a typical bar owner's headaches. 95% is what I say. And having 60 plus bartenders that every single 1/10 of an ounce is accounted for on somebody's credit card or an employee card, you eliminated a lot of the headache of like, is my team stealing? What's the inventory like? How much are we wasting? Especially the national average of keg waste is 24 to 25%. Our average is right around 3 to 4% because It's all accounted for. So that eliminated a lot of the headaches there. And then the technology piece alone, bringing something different, something cool has always been something I've enjoyed doing. And being the first in Charlotte to have self-serve technology, and it was just a hit. So our goal is to continue to do that across the country and be first in the market. If we're not first, we're going to be completely different than anybody that's doing it.
Wow. And early in my career, I test marketed beer for Miller Beer. I traveled around the United States, test marketing, opening up markets,
Nice.
introducing the microbrews of all things. When microbrews were coming on board, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I have many friends who are bartenders, and they all want to be the friends to their friends in the bar, give away the house, so to speak. So, So you alluded to what the brand looks like. Let's unpack the experience a customer has going into a Hoppin location.
Yeah, we've always said, or I've always said, how do we drive traffic into our doors? And the biggest thing is be different. Everybody can sell a Mick Ultra, but what actually drives people into your door? So we've always structured ours as an experience company. When you walk in, our team will check your ID, grab a credit card, open up a tab. But in that entire process, they're having fun, they're joking around, they're actually having an engagement instead of you just walking into a bar and trying to, go to the bar and find a bartender. So that first process is very engaging, very customer driven, very experience driven. Once you check in, get your wristband, you get an RFID wristband. That wristband's attached to your credit card. You grab a glass. Our team will show you the wall, explain the entire tap room to you, where our wine taps are, where our beer taps are, and then if we have self-serve cocktails, depending on the location, or a full cocktail bar. That experience also is, if you've never poured a drink, we show you how to work the system, how to pour a drink. And then after that, you kind of roam around, find your own seating. It's very, very, very relaxed. And our team is always constantly walking around, picking up glassware, checking on tables, making sure if there's anything you need. And cleanliness is one of my top 3 things that I require for all of our locations. So we're always keeping everything clean. So the experience aspect of it is, 1, you get to pour your own drink. 2, the service level should be extremely high at any location you go to. And then 4, it's the convenience to never have to really wait for a drink with the self-serve aspect.
And you don't need a whole lot of employees to run the operation, because how many people typically on an off night? How many people on a Friday, Saturday night? How many people?
Yeah, that's the benefit of what. One of the biggest reasons I also did this was because it eliminated a lot of staffing needs. But on a slow day, like a Tuesday or Wednesday, it's 2 people, 3 people max. And then on a busy Friday or Saturday, so Saturday, 12 to 12, we're open. You have 6 to 8 people, depending on the day and the time of year. And then on Friday night, you'll have 4 to 5 people working.
Now, so I've been to your location, and it's just such a cool concept. It would fit in any city. It fit in great in New Orleans itself. I mean, my hometown. One thing I noticed is you all did not serve food, but you had a place for a food truck for that night. Was that a one-off, or is that something other locations do that you all help develop?
I grew up in the food and beverage industry. Not me personally, but my parents. They always kept me away from it. And my mom was a waitress, my dad was an executive chef, and they worked 24/7. And they opened up their own restaurant, and it seemed like 7 days a week, 24/7. So I've always said, if I was going to invest into a bar, how do I eliminate the food aspect or the back of house aspect? 1, it's a lot of staff. Food margins are really minimal, especially now. And then you have a ton of food waste. So I was like, let's just partner with local food trucks or a local food operator. Here in Charlotte, we have a food truck that's here 5 days a week or 6 days a week. The only day they're not here is Monday, which we're closed Monday as well. Other locations have neighboring restaurants where they provide a full menu. You order off a QR code and they either deliver it or you go pick it up. So the goal for every single location is to partner with a local food operator and be more in the community and drive a local food operator as your food partner.
And that particular night, I think we were having ice cream. It was delicious.
That was probably my other brand. So yeah, we brought in ice cream.
Oh, that was your brand. Oh, okay.
It was Clear Scripts Creamery. Yeah.
Oh, well, how right. I love that. All right. How many beer taps did you all have? How many beer taps, wine taps do y'all have?
We have a total of 62 taps here. 12 of them are wine and then 50 beer. And then the other locations will range around 60. Our Greenville, South Carolina location's a little bit bigger, and that actually has 82 taps.
Oh, wow. Now, what about the bar itself? Takes 2 people to operate that? Is that about right?
Yeah, since we have 60 plus, we always say 60 plus bartenders with the self-serve taps, our actual cocktail bar is relatively fast. So we'll have two people bartending. If it's a busy, time and we have our roll-up door and we're doing double-sided, maybe 3, but for the most part, it's two bartenders, and then one person might hop in every once in a while if it gets a little bit busier.
Okay. And then what about entertainment? Do you all bring in entertainment on a regular basis? Is that part of the routine? Is that part of the deal?
Yeah, our programming is set up for Tuesday to have trivia, Wednesday to have music bingo, Thursday's usually a theme night or a theme party, and then Friday is a DJ at night or live music, and then Saturday you'll have DJ during the day or live music during the day, and then a DJ or live music at night. depending on the city that you're in and what's really driving the traffic. Being in Charlotte, our traffic is a little bit younger demographic and they prefer DJs. And then we'll do a live band during the day because it's just a fun vibe.
All right. I've got to ask, I mean, obviously the brand is what it is, but how do y'all come up with Hoppin? So it's a great name. I mean, it's just, and the logo is fantastic.
Yeah. So it was a group of us just kind of hanging out, tossing names around. And I've always tried to, keep it one word and just make it something that's memorable where people would be like, I want to go here. And Hoppin was just a play on words of hops for beer. And then, that place is hopping, that place is jumping, that place is cool. So it just worked out great. And then a buddy of mine made the logo with a tap on it. And we were like, all right, that's it. That name is perfect. And yeah, it's a brand now instead of just a solo bar.
Yeah. The image is memorable. The brand speaks conveys several messages, which explains exactly what it is, but it's also, it's a fun place to be. All right, let's unpack, what does this look like for support, somebody considering this franchise? What does it look like for them to onboard with you all, the support that they would receive to get it going and then sustain?
Yeah, we support from day one. As soon as the FDD assigns, the process starts to start looking for real estate with our real estate team. We can also partner with somebody local that understands the market and might be able to find something off market because the market was hot for so long. You almost had to find things off market to get a good property. And then after that, once you find the property, you work with our architect design team and they'll do a test fit, make sure everything fits in there that we need. And they'll handle the entire process of design and architect with our franchisees. We are there throughout the entire process as well for questions and connecting, depending on the time frame, connecting you with who you need to be connected with. And then we have a 12-month countdown sheet, basically after signing FDD, what every step needs to be and where you need to take it and how many weeks or how many months in advance. Once you go through that, we get closer to opening. Construction process will take, once you get permits, it'll take 4 months, give or take. And then once we get closer to opening, 45 days out, they travel here to Charlotte. We have an 11-day training process, in-depth training. A lot of it's just on the job. And then a lot of it is going to be culture driven and just, the experience that we present. After that week of grand opening, we send our team out there to support them and train their hourly staff or their part-time staff. And then we're there throughout the entire grand opening weekend. So that's leading up. On the marketing side, we start marketing 90 days out. And there's a whole in-depth marketing guide. We have a 90-page marketing guide that we'll go through with our franchisees. All the digital marketing is handled by us at the franchisor at the HQ level. So it's a little bit different than some franchises. That's what we do best. At the HQ level, we're a marketing company. And we want our franchisees to focus on the experience to our customers. They handle the marketing in their territory as far as being on the ground, going out, getting events, creating a relationship, being the mayor of their city. But digitally, we handle that. After opening, we continue handling all the marketing for them. We have a support. We have our events manager, our director of events, who also is always going to keep an eye on their event structure and how many events they're pulling in, what they can do better. I've always said sales is the heartbeat of a company. So the event sales is a great revenue stream that if you do it well, it'll separate you from being a good franchisee to a great franchisee.
So somebody coming in looking at this, what's the biggest obstacle you think besides the investment, what's the biggest? Is it they don't know how to run they've never been in the bar business? What do you see the biggest thing, the biggest hurdle? Let me ease in here for just 1 second. I've got some great news. I've got a brand new book coming out called Your First Franchise Roadmap. And I'm going to walk you through the steps it takes to discover your first franchise. In the very first part in the book, I talk about what is the right path for you. Is it entrepreneurship? Is it investing in a business? Is it looking at a franchise? We'll walk through that process. That's just one piece of it to see if that's even the right thing for you. Now, to get a free copy of this book, check out yourfirstfranchise.com/roadmap. And I'm going to send you a free copy when the book comes out. yourfirstfranchise.com/roadmap. And should you prefer a paperback version, it's going to be on sale on Amazon very soon as well. And know this, every bit of profit that's going to come from that book is going to go to Make-A-Wish Foundation. All right, now let's get back to the show.
We actually prefer not to have somebody that's been in the bar business because we feel like they have some bad habit per se. But yeah, the actual training on that side is easy. That comes down to having a great personality and being a great leader as a franchisee. The biggest hurdle I always say is the construction process. It's just long. If you've never been through it, it's as we want to move fast, you have to be very patient. We want our doors open like yesterday wasn't soon enough, but construction is what it is. So it's just kind of prepping them mentally to know, like, all right, this is a process. Like, we got to find a property. We got to go through the permitting process, which takes a while. And then construction, they say 4 months, it might take 5, or they say 3 months, it may take 4. I always say that's the toughest part mentally, because we just want to get our doors open and have an experience. Once you're open, it's funny, franchise candidates come and they do a tour with us and they ask our manager, our director of operations, what's the toughest part of your job? And they're always like, honestly, taking out the trash. For me as an operator and somebody that has multiple locations, I always say the toughest job is just the flow and revenue, right? I mean, you're seasonal, because in the winter, people stop drinking in January. They do dry January, February. It's still a little bit slow, and then it picks up in the spring. Summertime takes a little bit of a dip because people are going out and partying and on the pools and the lakes. And then it picks back up in the fall and throughout the holidays. So I say that's a tougher part. And then it just ebbs and flows with the economy sometimes. Just understanding that, every year is not going to be a stellar year. And some years, it might be a little less, but once you level out and understand that, it's pretty easy.
Regarding the locations, it's not cookie cutter. I mean, the place I went to is certainly in the neighborhood. It was an old building that y'all retrofitted to make fit your brand. Is that typical? I mean, what locations? Are typical warehouse districts or old building? I mean, what does that look like for somebody considering?
Ideal location is going right around where all the other bars and restaurants are and breweries. You want to be in the mix of everything, where everybody's going to hang out and drink and eat and shop. So property wise is going to be completely different. Every location is completely different. Here we have 4,700 square feet, but 1,500 of it is up on the mezzanine, looking down at the main floor. Our location in Fort Worth, Texas, is 4,000 square feet and kind of a warehouse vibe. And then our Dallas location, they're going to be in the mix of everything. So it just really depends on the city and what's available in those hotter areas.
Now, what about the hours? I noticed you said 12 to 12.
Yeah, during the week, we're 4 to 10 or 11 or 12, depending on the day.
Okay.
On Friday, we open up at 3, just because some people work half a day and they get out and they want to go eat. And then Saturday, we're 12 to 12. Sunday, we're 12 to 10. And every location could be a little bit different, right? If a franchisee wants to stay open until 2 o'clock, they're more than welcome to. I don't do that with our stores, just because I've always lived, nothing good happens after 12 o'clock, and I like to go to sleep knowing that we're closed.
Good. All right. What does the investment look like and the revenue side for this look like?
Yeah, initial investment right now, with construction costs still kind of high, 1.2 to right close to like 1.9, almost 2 million, depending on the building. At that higher level, it's going to be a cold dark shell, and you're going to get 500, 600, 700 and TIA back. So it kind of brings you back into that 1.2 to 1.4 range. 1.2 is going to be more of an upfit building, and you still probably get some TI, maybe 100 to 200 grand worth of money back. So it just fluctuates depending on the building you're going into and the lease negotiations on a TIA.
Okay.
But yeah, and then top line revenue, our first year average was 1.4 million, and our location here in Charlotte, we did 1.8. And then obviously it ebbs and flowed through the pandemic. Our lowest year was $1 million here in Charlotte, and that was in the dead of the pandemic. And we've kind of leveled out now and right around 1.4 million here in Charlotte.
And your margins have to be strong, because restaurants always make their money on the bar side, and you don't have you reduce the waste on kegs from 24% to what you said, 3 or 4%.
Yeah,
that's huge. So I mean, your margins, somebody coming into this, there's room. I mean, and the labor pool is small, so your margins have to be pretty solid.
Yeah, gross margins are great. I mean, 78 to 82% gross on alcohol. So that's solid. It really just comes down to a volume game, getting people in the door. And I always say, once you cover your nut, the expenses really don't change at all. So you're typically 70% to the bottom line after you cover your expenses. So it's just getting to that number, whatever that is, whatever that break even number is per your location. Once you get to that number, the rest is pretty gravy.
Wow. Who's your ideal candidate? You said somebody not in the bar business.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely, if
Or-
they're a leader and have, a good perspective on life and they have a great personality and can create that kind of, we always say the ultimate host, right? We want to welcome everybody and we want to hire people that love to host events at their house. That's what we look for. And our candidates, that is also the same thing. But then you also have, the investors that have a portfolio and they want to kind of expand on that portfolio. And the biggest thing for us is really speaking with their operating manager and see like what their culture is, what their leadership skills are, and what their personality is. It's just so personality driven because of the experience that we're looking to create that, leadership is and culture is so important. And outside of that, we do have, 4 different kind of ideal candidates, depending on if it's like, just husband, wife, somebody that's getting rid of their 401k and they're, retiring and they're looking for their next thing, investor group, or a young kind of entrepreneur that's looking to do his own thing. So we have those built out for our brokers and our sales team.
I love it. All right. Vision for the business. I mean, how many locations are y'all at, and what's your vision? What is your vision for the business itself?
We have 3 currently open, 2 corporate, 1 franchise. We have additional 3 opening this summer and another 2 at the end of this year, depending on construction, might be early next year. And then we have another 4 that are already signed. So they're multi-unit deals. And then we have a couple groups that are looking to sign, in DC, Austin, Texas, and another one in South Carolina. So we have a ton in the pipeline as well. But yeah, my goal is to get 30, 40 locations open with another 40 to 50 in the pipeline or in development, and, continue to grow it and give opportunities to individuals across the country to start their own business or expand their portfolios. And at that point, I'm sure I'll get some PE firms to take a look at us and make a decision then whether if I take some chips off the table or all the chips off the table and do something else.
I love it. I love it. Top advice. That's the perfect place for us to button up right there. What's your number one advice for someone? You've been on this entrepreneurial journey for a while. You've had some great success along this journey. What's your top advice for someone considering entrepreneurship or franchising, whether it's your franchise or another franchise?
Yeah, entrepreneurship and franchising. I mean, it takes a lot of work. So I always say action over everything. If you're going to wake up and want to do something, just go take the action. You'll learn so much more. Don't be afraid to fail. Like I said earlier, nobody's learned anything from success. They've learned a ton from failing. So, don't fear failure. Failing is going to, be that trampoline to get you to the next level. So that's what I always say. Just go take action. You can read a book, but if you don't go take action, it's not going to get you anywhere, right? You can do push-ups and I'm not going to get the muscles. So being able to just take the action and run with it, you're going to learn a lot. A year from now, you'll look back and be like, well, that's how you do it. And if not, you pivot and you go do something else. For franchising, I always tell every candidate, that we're speaking with, like, do your research, understand is a good culture fit for you, understand the founder, understand the team, look into it in depth and weigh some options. Don't just look at one franchise. I'd rather somebody look at multiple franchises before they make a decision with us to make sure that they're making the right decision. That's the biggest thing I would tell anybody that's looking to get in franchising. There's so many opportunities. You got to find which one fits you culturally, which founder do you really, kind of culturally fit with as well and vibe with, especially the emerging brands. The founders are so important, and being a part of that, they're involved so much. As they get bigger, like, the big franchises, it's a little bit different, but there's so many small franchises out there where the founders are involved. So I would always say, just kind of look at all the options and find out which one fits you the best culturally and which one do you truly believe in.
Yeah, I love it. All right. This has been great. Rich, I appreciate your time. Folks, if you're interested in Hoppin Franchise, get in touch with me. I'm working with Rich and his team, and you can check out yourfirstfranchise.com, hit the contact us button. I'll be in touch with you right away. Rich, man, I appreciate it. Next time I'm in Charlotte, I'm going to give you a buzz. I want to meet you in person, and we'll do a toast.
Sounds good. Yeah, definitely let me know, and hopefully we get one over there by you.
I'd love to get one in New Orleans. I'm going to be talking about this in New Orleans for sure. So all my friends, in fact, I've got a networking meeting tomorrow morning. I will be bringing this up to my networking group called the Breakfast of Champions. So I'm looking for one champion to take
I like
on Hoppin in New Orleans and across the United States.
I like it already. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man. And that is a wrap with Rich. And folks, if you are in the Charlotte area by chance, make sure to go have a cold one from me at Hoppin. You'll have a great time. It's a fun place and it's a great business. And if you're interested in the franchise, like I said, get in touch with me at yourfirstfranchise.com. Hit that contact us button and we'll be in touch right away. And the margins on this business, gosh, most businesses would be very envious of this business. So you know the drill by now. And if you're watching the YouTube, please hit the bell, like, subscribe, all those things. And on all the podcast shows, hit the stars, 5 stars would be much appreciated. And we're building this community. We're interviewing the franchisors, we're interviewing the entrepreneurs, and we're going to keep on growing. So, and that's because of you. And that's why that's what makes this fun. And you know the drill. Be intentional and make today a great day. Bye-bye.